Well, good evening, everybody, and this is Rick Nappi, for those of you who don't know who I am. And I just want to make sure, are we live? I see you, Darlene. Are you there? I know there's a bit of a delay on this. Let's see, we have Darlene pumping in. Hi, Darlene, how are you? I hope your mom's okay. I mean, not your mom. I hope your sister's doing well. I'll give you a holler sometime this week, and I'll text you and see how you're doing. Through Facebook here. Anyway, this is Rick Nappi. This is where we discuss health issues without using big words, without complicating it, without, talking above people, but really to break it down into layman's terms and to make sure that people actually understand what the heck we're talking about. So tonight, the topic is flu vaccines versus vitamin D. Which one should we use, or should we use both, or should we use neither of those? Well, so let's start out with that, all right, because it's a pretty comprehensive issue. So let's start with, let's just start with this. So what I'm going to be discussing actually has to do with multiple studies over a long period of time that handled about 8 million people. So, we've got a really good sample here, right? And the bottom line of that with vaccines, we're talking about the flu vaccines. We're going to start with the flu vaccine first. So you'd have to inject 71 people in order to prevent one case of influenza. I'm going to repeat that. You'd have to inject with a flu vaccine 71 people on average to vaccinate to prevent one case of influenza. What does that make you feel like? I mean, the odds aren't very good then, are there? So if you've got to inject 71 people to prevent one case, I don't know. You do the math on that one. So we'll have to figure that out. Now, there was a result of two studies that suggest that vitamin D may be almost 6 times more effective at preventing influenza and vaccines. 6 times more effective in preventing influenza than vaccines. Isn't that amazing? Vitamin D. Now, you can get vitamin D from the sun. You can get vitamin D, prepackaged. But now, I'll get into that in a little minute, but I want to get back to the flu vaccine. So what actually are some of the components that are in a flu vaccine? Well, you have egg protein. Now, some people are allergic to eggs, so they really can't have eggs. So what happens, right? So why egg protein? Well, because what they do is they inject the virus into the egg, and the egg becomes the culture, like the petri dish. And this is where they grow the virus antibodies, right? So you've got that growing in an egg. Go figure, that's pretty good science, right? Now, they also use cells from mammals also to impregnate with the virus, right? So there's preservatives in it, one of which happens to be mercury. Now, if we've all been around this planet for a long enough time, we know that mercury is not a good thing to have. So it's mercury. Now, it's also got stabilizers like sucrose and sorbitol and MSG. Are we getting anywhere here to anything positive yet on what's in a flu vaccine? I don't think so. That's right, Gloria. There's some bad stuff in it. There's some bad stuff. And when you think about this, when you'd have to inject 71 people in order to prevent one case of influenza, it's not looking very good so far. Now, polysorbate 80. Polysorbate 80. What is that? Well, that's like it congeals. You know what they use polysorbate 80 in? They use it in like salad dressing and stuff like that to keep everything floating and keep it all in a gel-like thing, right? So that's polysorbate 80. And then the real kicker is, boom, formaldehyde. Now, for those of you that don't know what formaldehyde is an embalming fluid. It's a fluid that they use when people pass away, and they use it at the funeral homes. You use it to preserve organs and things like that you've taken out of bodies and to preserve and put in a glass jar and all that sort of stuff. So nothing about this sounds very good so far, does it? Well, here's the interesting part. The evidence shows that the vitamin D levels in the winter with people that don't really get that much sun are likely to get influenza. Now, I just want to let you know that I have not had, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that I've not had a flu shot in probably 15 years. I don't get colds, I don't get flus, I don't really get sick. And so I haven't used it at all. Now, if you have a compromised immune system, it might be a good idea. If you're a young child, it might be a good idea. Look, these decisions are going to have to be made by you. I can only tell you what I do and what I don't do, right? So people that don't get enough sun in the winter, because the sun gives you the vitamin D, right? So if you don't get enough sun, the chances are that your levels of vitamin D are going to drop and that you may be susceptible to colds, flus, and influenza. So not very good, right? And now here's the other thing that's pretty important about that. Let's see here. Where are we? Oh, yeah. Now, what happens when you actually have the flu and it's already in your body and you didn't get a flu shot? By the way, most people get flu shots, they'll get headaches, they'll get nauseous, they'll be lethargic for a while sometimes, and some people have a really extreme reaction to it. So, but now with vitamin D, if you've got influenza, what practitioners will do is they'll suggest like a vitamin D hammer. Bam! I mean, 50,000 IUs of vitamin D or 10,000 IUs of vitamin D 3 times daily for 2 to 3 days. And now with both of these dosages, a full resolution of the symptoms were achieved in 2 to 3 days with vitamin D alone. In other words, with these large amounts of the vitamin D at that particular time actually resolved the symptoms of flu within 2 to 3 days. Now, anyone that's had the flu knows that flu doesn't go away in 2 to 3 days when you get your flu shot. And every year, the strain of influenza changes. So every year, they have to make a new type of batch or cocktail of a flu shot to give people. But, many people are pressured. And by the way, this is something that came to me via one of our guests to come here online and made the suggestion to bring up this topic about, flu shots or vitamin D. And the person said, well, I don't know if you want to talk about this because the government's pretty pro, influenza shots. I mean, they're giving them away at Walmart and places like that. And so they're really trying to push this, right? And what they're trying to do is in good faith. They're trying to prevent epidemics and pandemics. And so that's a good idea. But the choice to do this or not do this, I can tell you, I'm only one person, but I can tell you that in 15 years or more, I've never had the flu. So now, what's my real secret about this? Why? Because I practice preventive medicine. This is what I do. Just like anything that we have around us, I believe that cancer, if you treat it in a preventive way, it stays in the molecular stage. It doesn't divide as much. It doesn't get so much momentum going. And then it doesn't turn into a tumor, right? So prevention is key. If you wait and procrastinate, the number one cause of premature death in America really is procrastination, right? Because, tomorrow or next week, I'll do it next time or whatever it is. You can't wait. Look, stop rolling the dice with your life. What you really need to do is to be proactive, think about these things, and realize that if you have certain commodities within your body that can fight and help fight next to your immune system and help your immune system stay strong, then the chances are you're not going to get hit with what they call opportunistic infections. And why do they call them opportunistic infections? Because they wait for the right opportunity to infect you or to gain momentum or to take your body over. So when you don't sleep, when you don't get proper nutrition, when you're stressed out, all of these things will contribute to your immune system being knocked down and you becoming susceptible to opportunistic infections, opportunistic diseases, and maladies in which you could otherwise avoid. So I'm always asked, so what do you do? And I'm going to tell you what I do. It's so simple what I do. That's it right there. Benefits, whole body, nutrition shake. Now, I developed this for myself because there was nothing in a store that I can get, and I couldn't trust what was in it because they just don't make these things with high quality, physician grade products. By the way, this has your vitamin D in it also, so you're not going to have to worry about your vitamin D with this. But it has a whole bunch of other stuff. You've got your proteins, which is pea protein. It's all vegetarian. Look, it doesn't get any simpler than that. Right now I'm drinking some cranberry with water. But a glass this size will cost you, with that bottle, 30 servings, $1.99. And I'll tell you what, I drink it every single day and I don't get sick. And as you see me online all the time, I'm never taking a day off because I don't feel well. I'm never taking a day off because I have the flu or a cold or I have low energy. I start my morning out with this. It's a preventive measure that I take so that it works in tandem with my body and with all my organs and keeps me nourished throughout the day so that no matter what I do, I know that I've at least gotten my nutrition in the morning and it's going to bring me through. You got a full spectrum multivitamin, you got probiotics, prebiotics. Yeah, it's just so great. And so the key here is you have to make decisions, act upon those decisions, and once you act upon those decisions, then you will be able to get the benefit and the reward of that. If you do nothing, I can assure you that at some point you're going to get sick, you're going to get influenza, or God only knows what else. Just figure out when you go to Walmart. Now, I'd like to talk to the guy that actually invented the shopping cart. What was this person? Where was this person's mind? I mean, it just sometimes things just make me feel dizzy. You know what I mean? I just feel so dizzy because why would you put this thing in the back of the cart that you push where you put a baby in it for all this fecal matter and urine and all that other stuff? You know, so why do you think that they put those handy wipes there at the front door in a lot of places now? Because they know that all this stuff's infected with bacteria and God only knows what, E. coli, salmonella, all this other stuff. So the chances of you getting that are really, really big. I would absolutely not think twice about using hand sanitizer. And by the way, if you're going to use hand sanitizers, yeah, that's right, Gloria. You have to wipe the cart down. And not only that, but then you got to wipe your hands down. And what I do is I wipe the cart down, and then I take another one and wipe my hands with it, and then put those wipes right on the thing that you hold to push the cart. Because this is one way that you can help prevent that stuff. And remember something, money, everybody likes money, but money is very dirty. I mean, if you saw the E. coli and bacteria and salmonella that's on money, and that's just a few of the things, you'd really think twice about green money. You know, it's filthy dirty. So remember, it changes hands all the time. Now, let me give you a little tip on germs. So germs are pretty powerful little buggers. You know what I mean? So what they'll do is, so germs go from from surface to hand. So when you put your hand down on a counter, let's say you're somewhere and you're going to lean and you're going to, you put it down on the counter. Now, if there's germs there or some sort of bacteria or E. coli or salmonella, and you put your hand down there, and then when you pick it up, now it's on your hand. Now, you may say, well, what's the big deal? But it's the things we don't see, taste, or smell that could be the most dangerous. So now what do? Then we take our hand and we go, and we put it by our mouth. Or we pick our nose. Or we do this, right? We wipe our eyes, right? Think about how many times people wipe their eyes, right? Well, this is what happens. The mouth, I'm not too worried about. Pretty much you can almost kiss somebody that's got a cold or something and you're not going to catch it because the saliva in the mouth is a pretty protective commodity. But you have hair in your nose so that it prevents things from getting up into your nasal tract and up into to your throat, right? That's why you have nose hairs, because it's like little centuries that sit there and say, we're not letting you in, we're not letting you in. It tries to catch those little microscopic things. And the other concept is the eyes. When you wipe an eye, it goes into the tear duct. And that's how you also get infected. So these are things that you really should pay attention to. Not only that, yes, that's right, Gloria, the eyes. If you wipe your eyes, if you had something on your hand that you picked up off the counter and you wiped your eye, it could very well get into the tear duct. And that's pretty much the entrance point for, colds, flus, and things like that, is the nose and the eyes. Now, so to prevent that, don't touch your face so much. Keep your hands off your face. Remember when your mom used to say, get your hands off your face? I don't know why she was saying that, but in any event, she was right about that. I mean, don't touch your face, because if you do, you might actually get sick. So those are ways that you can prevent that. Now, let's talk about antibacterial soaps and those sort of things. Stay away from those, because we have found that antibacterial soaps will actually break down the immune system and break down your ability to fight off germs. So just use regular soap, and the trick really is to keep those hands moving like this, and keep moving them around and scrubbing them and whatever it is, and do that for at least 45 seconds to a minute. And that will really help a great deal, right? Also, your doorknobs. You don't think about your doorknobs very often, but every time you touch a doorknob, who else has been touching it? Maybe the UPS guy was there, maybe the mailman was there, maybe some kids were over and your kids were playing, right? Your faucets, your on the sink, clean those. Got to keep those pretty clean, because that's where it piles up too. Your countertops, that's where it piles up. Your light switch, when you turn your lights on and off, on your lamps next to your bed or whatever it is, and whatever your bureaus are next to your bed, wipe those down. Also, your telephone. Now, there used to be just landlines, right? But we tell everybody, you wipe down your landline, wipe down the phone, wipe it good, wipe the dial down. In your office, wipe those phones down. Bring some Sannies to you and wipe your phone down and disinfect it, right? That's another thing. Now, cell phones, my God. I'm sure you've all seen reports about cell phones and germs and salmonella, E. coli, bacteria, all that sort of stuff on your phone. Every now and then take it out of that case that you have it in, wipe it, give it turn it off, or take the battery out, whatever you got to do, turn it off, and wipe it down really good so that you're killing those germs. And every now and then, remember, a case is there not just to protect you, not to protect you. Oh, wait a minute now. Hey, Jose, how you doing? Now, Jose says he's always heard that TV remotes in hotels were pretty damn nasty. Well, Jose, you're absolutely right. You know what? There's so much that is contaminated that you can't think of everything. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I mean, the TV remote in hotels. By the way, the TV remote in our own house is probably just as dirty, all right? That's a good one. Thanks so much, Jose. I appreciate you chiming in. Yep, so everybody clean your TV remote, just like Jose just said, and then you'll be disinfecting that. So basically, everything is a breeding tank for, E. coli, salmonella, bacteria, germs, viruses, all this sort of stuff. And look, it's not about getting paranoid. It's not about crippling your life. It's not. But look, these things are terrorists, except they're microscopic. You don't see them. You can't know that they're there until they hit you, and then they hit your immune system, and that's what it is. And now, here's the other thing to be aware of, that when people up north, so I'm down in Florida, but people up north, and I used to live in New York, so at the change of the season, we start to change from air conditioning to the heating units. Now, take these big buildings or office buildings and all that, even your own house, by the way. Now, that hasn't been used all year long. Maybe you've used your air conditioner, maybe not. But when you switch it over to the heat, there's little mold spores, bacteria, this and that, that all of a sudden is being pushed out of this. So make sure you have fresh filters when you change over from air conditioning to heat. Make sure that you are aware that if you're sitting right over it, if you went to a restaurant, for example, you know, sometimes it's blowing. Man, what's blowing on you? When you're on an airplane. Now, interesting about airplanes, here's the deal. I don't even know if there's first class anymore, really, to be honest with you. Everything's shrinking down so much. But here's how it goes. When you're in coach or just the regular seats, all right, that whole section of the cabin is recirculated air. You don't get the fresh air. You get recirculated air. So whatever I'm breathing, whatever you're breathing, whatever anyone else is breathing, they're breathing in, everyone else is exhaling. The only guys that get pure oxygen or fresh oxygen are the pilots up in front. And first class gets a bit more. But in general, if this is all rotating around, it's, you know. Now, I remember when I, would go to China or overseas. And I'll never forget the first time I went. And I'm in first class. And so back then they had curtains and everything. They don't do that stuff anymore. But there were curtains, because the coach was separate from first class. And I had to go to the bathroom. So, somebody was in the bathroom in first class. So I decided, you know what? I need to take a little walk and get my blood circulating. So I'm going to go to the back. And I open up the curtain. And I'm not kidding you. Everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody's wearing a surgical mask. And I looked back there and went, oh, my God. And that, to me, was a real wake-up call because these people knew something that, at that time, I don't think maybe I knew it, but I didn't realize it. You take it for granted. And once I saw that, a lot of times now on flights, I'll wear a mask myself because, I don't care what people think I look like. What I care about is I'm not going to get what they've got. So remember this, when you're in a closed cabin or a closed environment, whether it's a closed office or a closed airplane or a cab, when you get into cabs, that's another one. I mean, we can go on all night. So the idea is to just be aware, carry some wipes with you, some sanitizer, be cautious about things, and know that you can prevent a lot. But the key is that whatever you're putting inside your body as a prophylactic, as a preventive, is going to help a great deal because when your organs start to strain, when your body starts to strain, and by the way, if you don't get enough sleep, and I went over this on another video about sleep, but if you don't get enough sleep, you will become dehydrated. So, and if you become dehydrated, your body works harder, your heart works harder, everything works harder. By the way, dehydration just doesn't occur because you don't sleep at night, but this is a high heart attack, cardiac arrest season for those that go outside and start shoveling snow in this very crisp, dry air. You have to be very, very careful because it can hit you like that. We all hear about sunstroke. If you're out in the sun and it's too hot, you can get sunstroke very easily from being dehydrated. But being outside shoveling snow in that crisp, dry air can also bring about a cardiac arrest and dehydration. And dehydration is really a very dangerous thing. So these are some of the things you've got to watch out for. Now, I think we've covered the whole thing about vitamin D and flus and viruses. And what I do, 15 years, not a cold, not a flu, not anything, but I take this every single morning. I made it for myself. I'm telling you, you guys should get a bottle of it. It's 30 servings. It's only $59. That's $2 a serving. How much did you spend on your cell phone? How much did you spend on your TV? How much did you spend on a DVD? How much did you spend on a junky meal at a restaurant? I mean, don't you think you deserve to have something good in your body? At least you're going to know that you're going to get the best stuff that you want. All right? So, look, I want to thank you very much, and I got to tell you, I'm very touched and humbled, and I send all my love out to everybody because, in reality, I thank you for letting me into your home, into your living room, into your bedroom, into your garage. Maybe you're at Starbucks. I don't know. To share this information with you and hopefully just maybe reawaken your brain to thought processes and think about these things. so that you don't get hit with something you can otherwise avoid. So all my love out to everybody. Thank you very much for coming here and watching. Thank you for chiming in. Jose, thanks so much. Gloria, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you very much. And yeah, just thank you, thank you, thank you. And look, what I'm going to ask you to do is just share these videos when I go off the air. You know, you're on Facebook anyway. Hit share and send this to all your friends, because you never know. Boom. Let's give some love to everybody. This might be information that they wouldn't otherwise have. I try to break it down into very simple terms. I don't try to be so sophisticated about it. I try to speak in plain English. And so, you know, make comments, give me hearts, give me thumbs ups. If you don't see this live, just put in viewed replay or something like that. This is for the people that aren't here right now. And I know 6 o'clock is not the best time in the world. And if you all have any suggestions about another topic that you'd like me to cover, just let me know and I'd be more than happy to do that. By the way, this topic here was submitted by someone that was watching one of my other videos. So anyway, stay tuned. I'll be coming to you every day. And remember, every Friday is Fun Friday, and you never know what I'm going to do on Friday. So, hey, look, everybody have a great night. Wash those hands and pay attention, and Godspeed, and stay healthy until the next time. It's Rick Nappi saying have a lovely, lovely evening. Okay, time for me to go now. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.